It's Center Court on Full Court Coverage with Barry Mestel and Richie Adubato.
That's not the weather, fans. That's the Lightning, Orlando Lightning. The Orlando Lightning hit the hardwood just a couple of weeks ago as we open up with a big win. And tonight, our very special guest on Center Court, young man Vincent Dillard. You know, before I bring Vincent on, let me tell you, I've always wanted, Rich, to have somebody local that lives locally. You know, but got to be the right kind of not just player, but more importantly, the right kind of person. And, of course, as you have, you know, I've known Mike Cuff for, like, forever, right? Mm-hmm. And he told me one night about a player of his who really had an interest of going overseas, so on and so forth. His name is Vincent Dillard. Well, I remembered him from watching Brantley, for that matter, from Winning Ways. But I said, well, come on over and have him come over and talk to me. So Vincent came over, we talked, he came to practice. I liked him. It seemed like he was really pleased, and I got to tell you that he works hard. We got a lot in common. He's left-handed, I'm left-handed. He's good-looking.
I'm left-handed.
I'm good-looking.
I'm ugly.
and he's really played a tremendous contribution to our team. So I know that we've got a lot of coaches out there, a lot of coaches listening. If you're looking for a player to play professionally overseas, a real team player that can, he's got a lot of upside. He can jump through the roof. He's got a really, really good shot. He works very, very hard on both sides of the ball. And importantly, he's a real team player. And you want to talk coachable? If you looked up coachable in the dictionary, you'd probably see his name. So, having said that, a former Lake Brantley graduate and basketball player, Vincent Dillard. Vince, how you doing tonight, buddy?
How you guys doing tonight? Feeling pretty good. Excited to be on this show, and just privileged to be here.
There's nothing to be nervous about, by the way. There's just thousands and thousands of people listening to you all over the nation.
Oh, no, I'm okay right now. I'm just a little shaky.
No,
I'm just kidding.
don't be shaky. Just square up and talk. Like I tell you about the foul shooting. Square up and talk.
You're right.
So tell us a little. We know you graduated from Brantley, played ball at Brantley, and then where you went on to play.
Well, I had a long 5-year career in college. I didn't have too many offers coming out of high school, and went to this unsigned senior showcase in Orlando, Florida, held by Scott Golden. Went out there, saw this, met this coach after the event from Colby Community College in Colby, Kansas. Didn't know where Kansas was on the map. Had to look at a map after he told me about the school to find it. Mm-hmm. Went out there for 2 years and loved it. Fell in love with the place. Met some great people. Met some, long relationships that's gonna last a long time with certain people there. After that, I went to the University of Texas at Arlington for 2 years. Coach Scott Cross is out there. I redshirted in my junior year, so I was a redshirt junior, and I played my junior year. However, it didn't go the way I planned it, and you know how things in life happen. You just got to find the next chapter. So I went out to University of Charleston in West Virginia, which Coach Osborne, and had a pretty good senior year. And I'm here now, graduated in May 3rd, and right now just trying to pursue the dream.
All right, and you're doing a good job of it thus far. How you enjoying playing with the Lightning?
I love playing with the guys. I like Coach Barry. It's very organized. A lot of teams out here it's a lot of ups and downs, and you don't know when you gonna have practice. But here it's very structured. Good people in the organization.
We appreciate that, and the basketball is obviously important, but as we all use the expression student athlete, and truly you exemplify one, and I gotta feel like your dad, who's also sitting right next to me, played a tremendous part in influencing you that. So I'm going to ask Mr. Dillard to just tell me this: what actually did you do so that Vince was able to maintain the basketball and the academics?
Well, the first thing, I had to explain to him was you can't play ball unless you have the grades. So that was rule number one. But also, I told him, I said, once you go off to college, I said, you can only play basketball, maximum as a guard, maybe 15 years max. But still, you're 30-something years old. You still have a lot of life to live. I said, what you want to come out of college as being known as is the smart basketball player. Those are the guys they call later for assistant coaching jobs. Those are the guys they call later for athletic directors. Those are the guys they call later for GMs. So you want to be known as the guy who's smart. So if you love sports and you want to make a living in sports, if you're known as that smart guy, you can continue to stay in sports once the ball stops bouncing.
Right. And of course we've got a lot of people watching Vince. Right to my left, our co-host, the coaching icon himself, Coach Adubato, is kind enough to come to just about every home game. He was part of the physicality about a week or two ago, right, Coach?
Yeah, unfortunately, I was the physical guy that got hurt.
This was when Carlos went.
I used to be a little faster. Okay, used to run the first in 3.7. Now it's 7.3. I run the first. Okay, I get it out of the way. Right, I got to thank Dave Baker, the coach over there from Ireland, because I think he got in and blocked it so that I didn't really get hurt. Okay, because that's a hard floor you got over there.
Yeah,
you know
it is.
It's
a hard floor. It's a hard floor.
I like the old wooden floors. They had some give. There's no give on that floor except for my body gave when I hit it. But I used to be able to quick get out of the way.
There's a little give. These referees give me 2 extra timeouts, as you know.
You give them a hard time. So
no. I just tell them to call them like I see them, and we'll be fine.
Exactly.
All right. We also have here in the booth Coach Dave Baker, obviously a very, very prominent coach from Dublin, Ireland, coaching the Swords Thunder. He's over here for several weeks, and just this past weekend, Coach and I directed the Euro Elite, which really went well. We had several good players. Coach, you got to see Vince and all of my players, obviously, in the throughout the Euro Elite. But give us your candid opinion. I mean, we know he worked hard, but what's your thoughts on Vince throughout the weekend?
Yeah, I'm actually going through the evaluations last night and somewhat this morning as well. And he did very, very well. I mean, he's the type of guard I'd see in Europe. He's athletic, he's long, lefty. Always tough to get those lefties.
Nobody guards lefties.
Well, maybe you, Richie, but I mean...
I'm lefty. Nobody guarded me. They just have to wait for me on the left side of the floor. I would eventually get over there.
For me, what stuck out was, as you said earlier on, coachability. From listening to his dad there, you can see where he gets it from. There's a good grounding there behind him. And as a coach from overseas, that's what we look for. We look for guys that it's not all about, and I explained that at Euro Elite at the camp itself, it's not all about guys putting the ball in the basket. A lot of the time it's about how you adapt to living in another country, how you hold yourself in the public, in the media, around people. And that can open doors for you as well. But from a basketball side of things, he did very, very well. And it's one to watch, to be honest with you. I'm looking forward to trying to catch your game this week and hopefully see some more of him.
New culture, right? Being adjusted to a new culture.
Yeah, I mean
every country's different. The language barrier, everything that goes
We spoke about it. You could have a coach like myself that speaks somewhat English, and maybe a few words we catch you out on, but it's English. Where you could end up in Slovenia or Slovakia or one of those countries.
China.
China. But I'm thinking more of the Eastern European countries where if you mess up, a lot of the times the coaches put their hands on you. You know what I mean? It's not like it's not PC like it is in Ireland or over here. You can get pushed around, and if you don't do well, you're sacked. That's.
We know you're enjoying playing with the Lightning, and gosh knows I'm enjoying very much having you on the team. We know that your aspirations is to play overseas. It's very conceivable that there's any number of coaches out there. So what we're going to do is we're going to put you a little bit on the spot now. We're going to ask you this question. There's a lot of coaches out there. Let's say that you've really, just us talking about you and, of course, them listening to you thus far this evening, you've piqued their interest. What message would you like to give to that coach?
Hard work, determination. I mean, I really been the underdog a lot of my growing up years because I wasn't the biggest, I wasn't the tallest, I wasn't the strongest, and I kind of had that chip on my shoulder to show people, that I'm just, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? I'm here and I'm ready to play and I'm ready to show you who I am on this court.
Well, I can add two guys to that. Jameer Nelson and Darrell Armstrong were two guys that played for the Orlando Magic that exemplified that. Late bloomers, guys that had a lot to prove because on the way up, everything was a challenge. No one believed in them, but they believed in themselves. And it's great if you have that intestinal fortitude within you. I've always liked late bloomers myself because they continue to grow. They continue to push themselves. Sometimes you have guys who have it all right away, and after a few years, the challenge isn't there for them anymore. They're still good, but they're not pushing themselves to get better and better. So myself, I always like guys that took the challenge like you're taking and were late bloomers, because it seems like they never run out of challenges, and they keep on moving up the ladder.
Right.
So, all right, so let's Vince answered the question. Your thoughts on his response, Coach?
Well, intelligence, we like that, that's for sure. And sincerity. I can tell when I listen to him that he's truthful about everything, about what his life has been about so far, the trials and tribulations that he had as he moved up the ladder, but his determination to continue to move up the ladder.
That's great. Coach Baker, you're the other pro that you talk to players all the time. You've heard that question asked a million times, and it's not always answered quite as articulate as Vince answered. You know that.
No, he did a great job. To be honest with you, I was nodding my head the whole time that Richie was talking. It's exactly what Richie said. There's a sincerity to him. A lot of players come in and are slightly delusional sometimes on what they've done in the past, and they big it up to make it sound a lot better. And he was very honest and open about it. And as Richie said earlier on, I prefer players that have come through not a tough background, but as Vince explained, the chip to try and prove yourself. That hunger always succeeds in Europe. It's always a step above, as you said, the guys that have had it from day one and have sauntered through. And you've got to keep giving yourself goals and keep fighting to get better. And he seems to have those lined up. So best of luck to him, in my mind.
Yeah, for sure. All right, back to Vince. For our listening audience, we're talking to one of Orlando's Lightning players, Vincent Dillard, local boy right here from Altamont Springs. All right, Vince, that answer was really good. Now, I'm going to ask you another question. All right, so let's say we played for the Lightning season, and as you know, the Euro Elite was live streamed. That's for sure. Much thanks to Coach Baker. I think we had like 12 or 13 different teams, 14 different teams representing like 19 or 20 job openings. Let's hope that the Lightning season ends, and all of a sudden you get a call. Somebody really wants you there. Are you ready? Are you good to go? Ready to go?
I got my bags right outside waiting right now.
Okay, and Mr. Dillard, let me ask you this question. What would you think about your son going overseas? Because it's not like he's moving to Maitland.
Well, he explained earlier his college situation. I mean, he went to a couple places that I don't think I could live in. And leaving
You mean
here,
you don't like cows and pigs in Kansas? Is that what you're trying to say?
I mean,
Huh? You're not a farm boy at all? He said he fell in love with the place. I was there once for the University of Kansas. I followed a truck that had two pigs in the back of them that weighed 2,000 pounds apiece. And it was a two-lane highway. I couldn't get around it. For like 15 miles, all I saw were these pigs. And I watched one game. Larry Brown was the coach at that time at Kansas, and Bobby Hill, and I never went back again. So I give him credit for, falling in love with the place.
It sounds like you went to a big city in
No,
Kansas.
it sounds.
Well,
it sounds like I'm from Norton, New Jersey. We don't have any pigs in Norton, New Jersey.
But
Okay.
with all due respect, as Coach Baker is well aware, we had a player that attended our pro combine. Now already, it's 3-4 years ago, with Casey. Yeah, and then he played in the Los Angeles Summer Pro League when we hosted the Orlando division, and then went out to L.A. and he ended up playing for Coach Baker, and he came all the way here from Nebraska. You want to talk farm country?
Well, when he left here, and I told him when he went off to college, I said almost every student that goes off to college gets homesick. And me and my wife went out with him when he went out to Kobe. None of us had ever been there before. And it was a small town, very good people, but a very small town. And I just wondered, how would he cope? And in those 2 years he was out there,
Mm-hmm.
he never told me he was homesick. And when he went there, right out of high school, have not been away from home before, and was able to cope with that. I said, wow, he could probably go anywhere. Then, like you said, he left there and went to Arlington, which is a much bigger city. And then he left there and went to Charleston, West Virginia. So he's been to like 3 very different places in college and loved them all. So when I saw that, I said, hey, he could probably go anywhere in the world and live now, and cope with it.
Yeah, he probably could. Hey, Vince, let me ask you this. Obviously, with the Lightning in our league, we play the international rules, which I like because, well, first of all, I like most all of the international rules, the different style of play, so on and so forth, plus the fact that's what you would be playing overseas. One thing I've noticed is that you've been able to adapt very, very easily to the rules. So, two-part question. How is it that you've been able to adapt so easily? And candidly, what's your thought of the changes in the international game as opposed to here?
Really, I mean, it was kind of an adjustment. You kind of get used to it. I think the biggest thing is you can't call a timeout as a player, or if on a dead ball situation. You can't call a timeout. The coaches has to call the timeout, and the thing I do like about it is the 5 fouls, and you're in bonus. It's just you had to. Sometimes you gotta be able, like my dad was saying. I've been to 3 different places in college. I think I had that gift of adapting to my environment, and that's just yeah.
Look at in the. We probably have to go to commercial break any minute, but another minute or two that we have with you here, Vince. I got to ask you this: looking into that crystal ball, which is someplace over here.
It's right here.
All right, we're going to hope. We're going to do everything possible to help you play professionally overseas. But as your dad alluded to, someday the basketball, at least professionally, will be over. What you ever thought what you'd like to do after that?
Man, I got real big dreams. I tell people all the time I'm be a billionaire.
Don't say you want to be the head coach of the Orlando Lightning.
No.
I'm very sensitive. Very sensitive.
I can never replace Coach Barry.
Says all the right things, doesn't he?
I like Coach Barry myself.
As a wise man told me, don't ever walk in the footsteps of someone great. So I had to create my own path. But I just want to go into business. I want to try to, own some stuff. I want to be a businessman. I want to make some money.
Good for you.
Yes,
Good
sir.
for you. Mr. Dillard, that was pretty well said for a young man his age.
Yes, I'm going to tell you, he's surprised me a lot over the last few years. I always wondered, what it would be like with him, going off to college and graduating from college. And I watched his adventure through college and how he, would call me and tell me some of the things he's learning. And just listening to him, I could tell that he was really learning in college, but not just from college, but from the people in the different areas he's been to, that he was able to learn, from those people. He said, hey, in this place I learned this that I wouldn't have learned there, but and so, he's, I'm curious to see what the next 10 years bring for him.
I got to feel like they're going to bring good things, and I want to tell you this: you can be mighty proud of him. What I see Vince be it practice. Games. He number one, when he's not in the game, he stays totally engaged, which you really have to do. A lot of players that aren't in the game, they're just kind of sitting back and so on and so forth. Vince stays totally engaged, and obviously I love coaching, and he's one of the reasons why. There's no question. So you can be really, really proud. And for you coaches out there, we've been talking with Vincent Dillard. If you're a coach of a professional basketball team, you want a player that's versatile, that's got good height, that's very long, plays long, that has a tremendous amount of upside, that would be an asset to the team, that is got the perfect personality to participate in youth camps, youth clinics. He's sitting right next to me. That's Vincent Dillard, our special guest tonight. And if you're anywhere in the Orlando or Winter Park area, come watch him play. The Lightning play, in fact, this Friday night against the Fort Lauderdale Sharks. Winner of that game takes sole possession of first place. But that's going to be us, right, Vince?
Yes, sir.
Attaboy. All right, Vince. Thanks so much for taking time out of your evening, and especially for bringing your dad along. And Mr. Dillard, thank you Once again, you can be really proud. And coaches, at the risk of redundancy, it's worth repetitiveness. You can be really proud too. Take Vincent on your team. You'll be glad you did. Full court coverage with Richie Adubato and Barry Mestel. We'll be back after this brief timeout.